people get one or two rejections. Okay, I give up.
Were you already doing shots of tequila while you were going in advance?
No. Patron wasn't invented yet. No.
That's what I mean. Like,
but anyways.
Daily Logic Check.
Welcome to Daily Logic Check. I'm your host, Elizabeth Lynn Vargas, with my co-host, Andrew Vargas. And today we have a very, very special guest, all the way from Austin, Texas, just for this interview. The founder of Patron and Paul Mitchell Hair Products, John Paul DeJoria. Thank you for being here.
Oh, this is my pleasure. It really, really is.
You came all the way from Austin just to say hi to Andrew and I on our little old podcast in Newport Beach. Why?
Well, it's a little more than that, because your little podcast isn't just a little podcast, okay? It addresses things that appeal to the masses. Nobody is on television or a podcast that I know of that reviews daily things, daily events, and looking at it from a person's point of view, not the person that's giving you the information. And there's no place that does that. So it's really my pleasure. I think we need more of this. I think the American public likes to drop in on something where people are talking about normal things from a normal point of view, not just what someone's trying to shove down their throat. And I think that is fabulous. The world needs more of that. I'm here to represent you.
Andrew, you're fabulous.
Thank you.
That's Andrew and I decided to bring forth, I have 97% women on my followers on Instagram. And I said, I told my brother, let's do a lifestyle podcast with so many brilliant minds that I know. Bring them on, have a smart cast, a smart podcast that people that come on can educate my viewers on things that maybe they know or maybe they didn't know. And, I have such an array of great people. We had Emily from The Housewives. We have some bangers, but now we have obviously one of the most successful entrepreneurs that came from nothing and is creating something. And I just can't thank you enough for being here today.
Well, I also like the fact that, at least for part of your conversation, I could give a point of view from a person that came from homelessness to having quite a bit the American dream, because I've been at both ends. So it's really nice to be able to look at America different ways. And by the way, America still works. And I'm sure during your interview, people will realize America still works. Forget what the politicians are telling you. They're just doing it to get reelected. America still works.
Well, we are perfect. We came from nothing. We were homeless too.
Oh, all three of us.
Absolutely.
So I know America works. I'm sitting in this chair today with you here because it works.
I love it. Yes,
as bad as you look online and as bad as everything looks on TV, what I do is I look outside. And it still looks like everything's functioning perfectly fine, and everybody's
get off social media
getting
for
along.
A second.
Everybody gets along just fine in the world.
Mother Earth still works, okay? We got to leave
the plants are still growing green.
Got to leave the politicians aside that promise you everything, and sometimes they do. Sometimes they deliver nothing. But it's a good thing to be able to at least see everyone's view, which is nice, and realize that America does work, and we the people are still we the people of the United States of America. And I don't want anyone to forget that. Whatever the politicians do, whatever they may want to cram down your throat or do that you don't want to do, no. America's the land of the free and the home of the brave. Do what you want to. It's freedom, not what they say you must do to get control of you. That's
and you could cuss on the show. It's freedom of speech. Just so you know. One thing that I've noticed is, we just came out of that crazy time with COVID.
Oh, crazy.
And I'm an entrepreneur, and I really struggle with the ups and the downs and the hits and the non-hits and then the bonuses, and then, you feel like you won for like a week and then you're hit down again. One thing I've noticed is a lot of restaurants went out of business in California because, obviously I live here and all over the country, and a lot of people lost a lot of their lives that they spent their entire lives building. And right now their excuse is, well, the man's not letting me get back up. The man's, I'm going to wait for another check or I'm done, I'm over it. You went through the same thing in your startup era of your life, and you didn't have the COVID thing, but you still had a lot of trials and tribulations.
That's correct.
But you got back up. So your advice what would you tell somebody that's just down on their luck, they tried and they're just giving up right now?
Gotcha. This is a very good question. In fact, not realize what you were going to ask me, that'd be a question I would design. So that's perfect. Thank you.
Good.
We try.
You want to be my investor in Vargas Vodka.
People have to know, are things that bad? No. Did inflation take off with whatever measures the government presently put in? Yeah, okay, and that hurts everybody. But let me give you a different situation. When I started Paul Mitchell in 1980, I had a backer. The backer pulled out. I stopped doing everything I was doing, went down the hill to get the money, left my relationship, left everything with $200 in my pocket, plenty of money for my wife and my daughter to exist for a long time, even though the wife and I weren't getting along very well, but plenty of money for them. Went down the hill with a couple $100 in my pocket. The backer pulled out. This is very important.
That's crazy.
At the last, I'm down there, nothing. A friend of mine found me and said, JP, you got to call Dick Holthouse. Here's his phone number. Call him collect. And he said, JP, the last minute, I know you're expecting money to come in today. You're changing your life right now. Let me tell you why he changed his mind. Inflation in the United States was worse than under this administration. It was 12.5%.
Wow.
12.5% inflation. Can you imagine that?
That's crazy.
Interest rates.
I can't imagine that.
Well, let me give you another one. Interest rates. This is 80 and 81. If you could get a loan in 1980 or 81, if you could get a loan, prime rate means the lowest rate interest you could get was 17%. If you could, if you can get a loan, okay? That's not all. Unemployment in the United States was 10.5%, and we waited in line for gasoline because of what was going on in Iran. In other words, people said, this is the time to go to work for somebody else. Go back to your job, JP,
Right.
don't do it. But we believed what we have was really great. So I lived in my car for a few weeks. We started the company with $700. It took us 2 years, and I'll answer this question before you even ask it. It took us 2 years to know we're going to make it. Week to week, it was hand to mouth, week to week. How do we know we made it? After 2 full years in business, we were able to pay our bills on time. Not pay them off, but
Isn't
pay
that
them
a
on
great
time.
That's a good
And we
feeling.
had $2,000 each. It was like, wow, we are making it.
Yeah.
Well, needless to say, no matter what other people told us, give up your job, go to work for someone, you got plenty of people who want to hire you, no matter what they say, I believed in what I had.
Yeah.
So for young entrepreneurs, I have the greatest message I want to give to entrepreneurs, and even people like me as entrepreneurs starting later in life, okay, is this. 2 things that are the most important things you'll ever know. Number 1, be prepared for a lot of rejection. Because usually people
accept
get
rejection.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Usually people get 1 or 2 rejections. Okay, I give up. They say it's not going to work. They said it's not going to work. Forget it, right? I learned this selling encyclopedias in my early 20s, door to door.
That's so awesome.
All right, no
I would have
appointment.
loved for you to shove at my door.
No appointments, no leads. It was cold calling with a briefcase in your hand, right? But they told me something during training. They said, only a few of you are going to make it. The average lifespan of an encyclopedia salesman with Collier's Encyclopedia, door to door, even during your 4-day training, you're not paid at all, right? Okay, is 3.5 days. They said, but those that make it will do really, really good. And here's how you're going to make it. If you knock on 50 doors, cold calling, and they close everyone in your face, whether they're nice about it, and most people are pretty nice, right? Or angry about it.
They used to be.
On door number 51, you must be just as enthusiastic as you were on door number 1 as number 50. Well, for me, it wasn't number 50. I believe what they said. It was like 120 or something like
Were
that.
you
It was
already
over-
doing shots of
it was-
tequila while you were going in advance?
No. Patron wasn't invented yet. No.
That's what I mean, like,
But
what-
anyway, yeah, so in other words, for me, it took a while. But once I got the first sale, it was over 100 doors before they let me in, okay?
Wow.
Once I got the first sale, I got motivated. And I lasted in there for almost 4 years, door-to-door direct sales.
How old were you?
I was in my early 20s at that time. Became a field manager where 3 or 4 guys got in my car with me, and I would drop them off, get a low percentage of what they made. But these were very difficult times. I mean, the United States went through an unbelievable recession.
17.5%. That is insane.
oh, yeah.
Like, that's hard money lending right now.
I mean,
That's
it's
like,
yeah, but right now, and I got to hand it to normal families, it's very tough. It's not just now inflation dropped down to 3%. In the last 3 years, it went up to, at one time, multi-digits. I mean, or let's say it went up to 8, 9%.
Yeah.
But if you put it all together, if you put the last 3 years together, families are paying double-digit what they paid before for groceries and everything else.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
yeah, so the bragging is now, well, it's only down to 3.5%. Yeah, the last 3 years, you got to put it all together. So what we
Wow.
did was we were in an area where it happened all in 1 year, and then the second year was the same thing. You add them both up together, you're probably around 20% or something like that inflation. But you add all
Yeah.
these together, it's pretty bad too. But
Oh,
America
yeah.
still works, guys. America still works. People have to know that. So when you start with nothing and you sleep in your car, so number 1 was
that dollar really matters.
Number 1 was be prepared for a lot of rejection. The second thing, and this is very important, if you have a service to sell or you have a product to sell, okay, do not go into the selling business. Go into the reorder business
Yes.
where your product is so good. If you have no money for advertising or promotion, they say, this is really good. They're going to want to reorder.
Like Paul Mitchell, what you do with Paul
Exactly.
Mitchell.
Paul Mitchell, we had no money, no nothing. So I went door to door, beauty salon to beauty salon, knowing that hairdressers know the quality of a product. And the 2 shampoos and a conditioner and sculpting lotion we kind of started with down the way there really worked well. So we knew a hairdresser knows about hair. We're only going to be in the hairdressing industry that somehow benefits the hairdresser, even in the future of distribution
You just sold to hairdressers, right?
Yeah,
at the time?
exactly. Only hairdressers. Even today, wherever it is sold, and if we're responsible for that sale, it all goes back. Some of it goes right back to hairdressers. Like Amazon goes right back to hairdressers.
That's
we give a
great.
piece of it back to our salons to carry Paul Mitchell.
Cool.
We will always stay in the industry that supports hairdressers. So what happened was, with all this going on, we made a product so good that once you used it, you'd want to use it again.
Right.
In other words, make your product not just to sell, but of such a quality. Now, what if you don't have a physical product? It's a service. Make your product, your service so well, even if it's a one-time service,
200%.
that they'll tell their friends about it.
Yep.
They'll tell their friends about it.
Those salon hairstylists were using it on their clients, and their clients must have loved it, right?
Yeah,
So then
and they
just,
loved it. The important thing was the hairdresser loved it.
Yeah.
Hairdresser's the place to go for a recommendation. They love it.
Yeah. When that's kind of how when my friend and I started our business, we were just better than everybody else. So therefore, when they needed to recommend somebody, they're always going to recommend us.
You got it, Andrew. Quality.
Yeah, quality, and really be good at your job, take pride in your work, and it's getting really hard to find that these days.
Oh, yeah.
well, you work 17-hour days.
Yes.
I mean, you didn't just like show up and, oh, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, it's
like,
starting
you
your
gotta be
business is a
willing
lot
to
of
kill
work,
yourself.
and hopefully someday, like now for me, it's a lot less time, so I can spend time with my daughters, time with my niece, and so.
Yeah.
But yeah, first
Balancing
off,
that life.
first 10 years is work, work, work.
Oh,
Yeah.
Andrew, I did the same thing. My first several years with Paul Mitchell, I was on the road so much. It was only me for the first year. And then a year and a half later, I had one other person in the field. And of course, my partner, Paul, was an unbelievable hairstylist. He was one of the best in the world. We did what we could, just a couple of people, but it was that way. So I'd say easily for the first decade, I would travel so much. I spend very little time at home around the kids, very little, you know, and it's something sometimes you have to give up. But I would tell them what I'm doing, how it's going to benefit us in the future. And of course,
You created a legacy. I mean, you really like, even today, I go to my stylist, and I know, you know, we have a vodka company together. We're partners in a business. So I know I get these phone calls. And I remember one time I'm getting my hair done, and it calls, and I have John Paul Mitchell on there. And my stylist goes, answer it, please. I just want to hear his voice. I went to his school. And I was like, you did? She's like, yeah.
Oh, our
I mean,
schools.
Yeah, she
oh
went to
my
one of your
gosh.
schools.
There's something, I want to share this with your audience too about schools. We have over 100 Paul Mitchell schools nationwide, cosmetology schools, but we do something in schools the world should do. They take time in schools to raise money, whether it's a cut-a-thon, a car wash,
Oh, I didn't know
for
that.
people. It's part of our giving program. We teach them how to give back, and they feel so good. Some of it goes to, like, you know, children. In fact, it's all over the world. Part of the money goes locally to charities, part nationally, and part internationally. So, and they get in return the feeling of giving and doing something for somebody else. We teach them in school how it's not just us. You got to care about somebody
It's an
else and give.
ecosystem of giving back.
Oh, yeah, and
getting
they
something
do.
in
And we've already
return,
raised,
you
I
know,
think,
the love of
$25 million in the last 25 years or something
Have
like that.
pride in your pride in your job, pride in your work.
Right, but none of the money to raise it comes from the money raised. My partner Wynn and I, in our school division, put all the money in. We underwrite the whole thing. So every dime raised goes straight to a local charity, a statewide charity, or a national
wow.
charity, or worldwide charity. They learn how to give. And what do they get out of it? They have the gift and the love of giving.
Yeah, it feels so good to help.
Oh, honey, when you give to somebody else asking nothing in return, and some of these Keats and Molly you'll never meet, some of the people other ways you'll never meet them, you know, but the fact they know they did it without asking anything in return, not even a thank you, other than from us, they feel wonderful. It's a great high.
No, I
More people should do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're notorious for all your businesses giving back. I mean, you have Peace, Love, and Happiness Foundation also,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And is that your private foundation?
Yeah,
or is that...
JP's Peace, Love, and Happiness Family Foundation is only for my family.
Right.
All my
Okay,
businesses give back.
Okay.
We don't take money from anybody. That's just our own money giving out. And we give out, well, it's in the millions.
Yeah.
You know, we give out a lot of money, okay? But we don't give it out. We help our country become better.
Right.
I figured that.
Teach people, what do you always say? Teach them how to farm and they'll feed themselves? Or
Yeah, or you heard the old one is teach them how to fish and they'll teach themselves instead of giving them the fish. Teach them how to farm. And we did that. Grow Appalachia. We taught Thousands of people had to do their own farming so they could feed themselves, and then the next year grow a little more and sell it in grocery stores for organically owned produce or at farmers market.
But
Teach
you also
people
did
for themselves.
what was that show where the guy had the tea tree?
Oh, Johnny George's
Yeah,
Tree
on Shark
TV.
Tank.
That was the one
TV.
time. That was the one time, by the way, I was on Shark Tank. A beautiful show, Shark Tank. But do you know it's been shown over 300 replays? I did
I
it
know.
7 years ago. It's been replayed over at least
Really?
200 times.
Because we
It's still
love the tea
replayed.
tree guy or
But
whatever.
yeah, it's Johnny George. He invented this little thing, a tree teepee, that you
Teepee.
put around plants and trees. They grow faster. You need less
Captures the
water.
water.
It captures the water, the humidity at night. Less water that you use it all on it, like probably 1/10 the water that you have to use.
Yeah.
And,
I
and
didn't
less
see that.
fertilizer, less everything, and the tree grows quicker and better. It was a pleasure, and he's still in business.
But everybody wanted, all the investors, all the tankers, what do they call them, the sharks?
Yeah, they wanted to talk about.
well, why are you selling it at this margin? We can do this margin. And he's like, well, because we're farmers. I mean, that was the most
And some could afford it. You're right.
emotional moment for me to watch. That was, he's like, well, because we're farmers. I sell to farmers. They can't afford. And they're like, we don't care. We don't want this margin. And you're like, you know what?
Yeah, you're right.
I'm putting the money in because I believe in America. America works. Believe in the farmer. And I was like, I need JP as my partner. So in today's environment with, again, post-COVID, a lot of, and now we have an election year coming up.
Oh, boy.
What is your take on, now you just started you've already had this tequila before.
Sure.
Bandero tequila is your new tequila,
Yes.
but you already had it pre-COVID, right? Or did you?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a lot of people ask me the same thing. Okay, I sold Patron. Okay, my interest in Patron to Bacardi 5 years and 6 months ago.
For
Okay,
a very nice
yeah, for a
sum.
very nice sum of
Very
money,
nice sum.
exactly.
Just Google
but
it.
when I sold Patron, I had another tequila company I was starting that was a real smooth tequila that was organic, no additives, right? In fact, I have a bottle here since you mentioned, okay? Bandero, okay? So what I did was I started Bandero, and they were very kind to Bacardi, so kind to me. They said, JP, we'll let you keep, because you're starting it, right? But you can't put any money into it, and you can't promote it. So I said, could I give it to my adult daughters to run for me? And plus my partner, Jonathan, who helped start the whole darn thing, right?
Yeah.
They said, yes, but you cannot be involved in any way, shape, or form.
No marketing.
Yeah, but no,
conflict of
nothing
interest.
for 5 years. And they deserve that. They're wonderful people. I said, sure, gladly. So what I did on it was I did zero. But the non-compete was up in April, so now I could get involved and do different things. So now we're in 6 states right now, and we're launching the United States. But it is extremely
No, I've had
smooth.
it. It is really good.
Extremely smooth.
So I know you're JP and I know you're Patron, but I'm telling you right now, if I would have thought you were going to do another tequila company, that actually you might want to tip that up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Oh, there we go.
You're going to do it. I'm
Sorry.
not tipsy yet, but
Okay.
if I would have known you were going to do a second tequila company that was that darn good, like my girlfriends have tried it, and it's actually, I mean, I hate to say this, but it's better than your last company.
Well, no, let me put it a little different, okay?
I mean, not better, but it tastes
Patron,
smooth.
and this has nothing to do with the Patron product. It's totally
Right.
different, right? Patron is a great company.
It is
a
a great
tequila.
product.
And most people that appreciates really good tequilas, okay,
Yeah.
usually have at least two. So
Yeah,
if people say, if
okay.
we have at least two, we'll have Patron. I love Patron.
Yeah.
I'm the
Everyone
creator.
loves Patron,
I'm
but
the
this is just
creator.
different.
Okay, yeah, this is different than
yeah, it's
Patron,
different.
right?
You're right.
Have them both there, you know,
Yeah, you're
why
right.
not?
That's
but
just
definitely
different.
try Bandero and
Yeah.
see what you think. Try it at room temperature and try it chilled, and you will be amazed at the results. It is organic.
Daily Logic Check.
So with the election year coming up and wanting to start a business, and I know you said you've already had it started, but
Yep.
you're really going to go big with it this year, which
That
is
we're doing
great.
was just started, right?
And you get some of these deals closed, and I'm just super excited for you guys. But you think that if you're going to start a business today, would you wait till after the elections, or would you just start at any? Is there any time in someone's life where you'd say don't start your business or your dream because of an election year? Because everyone's saying don't do anything until after the elections. Don't buy real estate. Don't do businesses.
You're asking me, not one person I've interviewed with, and they've been on every major channel there is, right, has ever asked me that question, okay? When's the right time to start? Is it right now or not? And my answer is this, right now. I started Paul Mitchell under the worst situation our country's ever been in.
Right.
It was an election year. Reagan was just elected at that time over Jimmy Carter, I believe, who was running for re-election at that time. I mean, and everything was wrong. unemployment, interest rates.
tanking. You're like, let's start a
everyone said
business.
you don't want to start a. It's the worst time in our history. No, don't. Other than the Great Depression of the 20s, you'll never want to start a business.
Yeah.
And throughout that time, people were saying, "JP, go to work for us. It's not going to happen." And we struggled. It was day to day, hand to mouth. There were times I'll never forget where for the whole day to eat, I had just a few dollars.
Didn't you have a child too?
A child, yeah. I had dear friends of mine and my mom that helped me take care of my son, John
Was it
Jr.
the Harley people that took care of
Yeah, but no, there were some wonderful. Well, that was my younger son. That was the first time I was homeless.
first son,
Oh, the
okay.
first time I was homeless there. Yeah, that was in my early 20s. Yeah, that was some great biker friends of mine that helped me at that time.
But I mean, it's interesting because, a lot of people, I think, that really want to do something in their life, they have an excuse that, well, the environment is the excuse.
No
why I
excuse.
can't. And I agree. Like, Andrew and I, we've really lived. And as much as we've lived, I've always wanted my own company that's simple. Like my Vargas vodka is something, it's my passion. I love it. I love the business side of it. I love that it's one product, it's simplified, I can sell it, and I can give back because $1 of every bottle goes to my animal charity, right? So I'm like, okay, this is great, but I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do it. I was scared. I was getting divorced. I had, I just needed one person to believe in me, and that was you. And I, to this day, can't believe you believed in me that I could do this and that I was able and capable, coming from where I came from, being homeless, not having been college educated because I didn't have the money to go to school, trying to help support my family, all these problems hitting me in the head.
Sure.
You still said, you know what? I believe in you.
Well, I looked at someone that was similar to me coming along. They could use a helping hand. I just looked at it that way.
Yeah.
That's it. We want to help one another out. Success unshared is failure.
But I also think that if one, my advice also would be like, if you have that one person, even if it's your teacher or somebody in school or anybody that's a little tiny bit of a mentor, latch onto them. Because I didn't have anybody really, like shooting in the dark, trying to figure out who do I listen to. Like for years, I had nobody, I didn't have a father figure. I didn't really have my mother was great, but she had kids.
Oh.
How does she? Start a business.
Yeah, no,
Sure, Mom.
She works 16
6
hours a day.
She couldn't afford
She had 5 kids.
5 kids, and I think that, by watching these podcasts, watching these stories, like you being on our lifestyle podcast and really being able to share your experience with these young people can encourage them to get off the couch and just do it. Like you may fail. You will fail.
Do it now. Oh, you will.
Fail quickly, right?
Do it now. Yeah, do it now and be positive. Because if you're positive, what you do, we all have problems, right? My God, in high school, my business teacher told me and Michelle Gilliam, who became Michelle Phillips, the actress in Mamas and Papas, we would never succeed at anything, okay?
Yeah.
And we didn't let that get us down. Because remember this, no matter what anybody has told you so far, or what your experiences in life, you cannot change yesterday's newspapers.
No.
In other words, that's the past. Get off your shoulders.
Yeah.
So what happens is, as we start things out, we have all these problems. It's because you got your mind off your goal. If your goal was to succeed in your business, these problems come along. It's like a rock in the river. The river goes around it.
Yeah.
Obstacles are things we see when we take our mind off our goals.
Daily Logic Check.
Well, okay, so I joined that Orange County Housewives show, right? Because I'm like, well,
You're very positive.
If I'm gonna, launch a vodka, everybody's getting wasted watching a reality show on COVID. It was perfect. So my environment, even though it was the worst environment to be in, I was going through a serious divorce.
Yep.
I was down and out. My technology company shut down. I was crying so hard because my lawyer fees were skyrocketed. I moved into a 350 square foot apartment at the Wedge.
Right.
Rented out my beach house for $39,000 to $4,000 a day to pay my lawyers. Still had no money. Lived with my dog on a housewife show in a with a sheet behind me, pretending I was in my mansion on the beach. And I was like, this is the worst environment. And then, bam! I'm in that apartment and COVID hits.
Yep.
So I'm literally like my worst nightmare. And I just remember you saying. You just kept saying, there's never a good time. There's never a good time to quit.
That's right.
You can quit your entire life, but there's never. I think you said there's never a good time to quit.
Correct.
You should never just quit. Because I was like, man, this is just going to be. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Yeah. And your encouraging words and just being able to. I watched interview after interview, and I tried to search for positive, uplifting people, and your name just kept popping up. And I think that's one thing that with your success. You do is you're willing to get on television. You're willing to really share because you have time now. You sold Patron, you're starting Bandera, but you got a great team now. You know what you're doing. You know, this is a great environment to start Bandera. But you're also willing to give back your knowledge. And I think that, you know, for me, once, you know, I always thought, well, money makes me successful. But really what I've learned from you is that the journey is successful. If I can conquer those failures and those transitions, I'm successful. Like, if I can live there coming from jets and helicopters and this really wealthy lifestyle to look nothing then get back up with nothing. I mean, I didn't divorce with anything. So it's like, you know, I got stock options. Awesome. I can't spend those on just to do anything. It's not paying my rent.
Hey, you're going along with what really works. It's good for your audience to know this.
Yeah.
Successful people in anything you do, whether it's your personal life or in business or in education, successful people do all the things unsuccessful people don't want to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I like this little slogan too that I love. I think John Lennon came up with it in one of his songs. My friend Jonathan told me about it. I love the slogan. In the end, everything will be okay. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. You have those two slogans with you at all times. They'll motivate you to go out and do a little bit more, work a little bit longer, a little bit later. There's so many stories on how that works.
No,
So that's what you did. Good for you. Well, I've seen it.
I'm
I've seen
still
it happen.
trying. I mean, you
No, but
know.
you're doing really well, Elizabeth, and very, very proud of you.
Thank you so much for that. And I'm also proud, you know, of the people that I've surrounded myself with are also really important to your success. And
That's correct.
I do have to agree that if you don't surround, I mean, what is your take on surrounding yourself in the right environment versus not?
Well, you've got to. If you're around negative people that complain, that tell you how things aren't going to work out, they're constantly complaining or gossiping about somebody else, get away from them. Okay, that spoken word is very, very important. Try and only surround yourselves with just nice, kind people. And when you have friends that just blab and gossip about everybody, telling about how bad everything is right now.
Talk about people.
Okay, they can't help it. A lot of the press, unfortunately, is controlled, okay? So it's like, you know, a good piece of it, all right? So a lot of it isn't really true, but it affects them. So they have to just remember, in the end, everything's going to be okay. If it's not the end. And what do? You don't pay attention to negative people. You stay away from them. And you go with people. And even if it's your two best friends, just say, hey, I'm on a positive vibe now. I appreciate all the gossiping. It's interesting. But please, let's only talk about positive things now because I'm going to make this world more positive because of my service.
You might lose some friends in the process.
It's okay.
But it's okay.
You get a boot. You get the boot.
But you're going to raise up. No, your frequency is going to raise. The frequency of this planet is racing right now.
You'll find
your
people
frequency will raise.
If you look for the right, if you don't let the toxic people take over your life and you can move forward, you'll find people that aren't toxic that are good for your
That's
your life.
correct. And people that aren't toxic want to be around others that are non-toxic. When they're around people that are just gossipers and talk about bad things or negative things all the time, they sooner or later just don't want to be around them.
Yeah.
You want to be around the people that want to be around you, that you could just have a positive, even if you said very few words, but you were positive, you were happy. That's what the world needs more of. Not
Holding
this
each other,
negative.
holding each other up, not breaking each other down.
You got it.
and
That's
accountable.
perfect. Andrew, that's beautiful.
Andrew holds me up all the time. I'm
Good
like, oh my
co-host,
God,
good
I can't
co-host,
do it.
good
Andrew's like,
co-host.
it's
No,
okay.
what he's saying is correct. What he's saying is correct.
You know, and it's interesting because a lot of people are on, you know, this whole social media thing that we've got. You know, you got TikTok, Instagram, and you get a feed. So everybody gets their own feed on these social media platforms, and a lot of them are really America's feed is different than China's feed. China's feed is different than Japan's feed. We all have the same platform, but all of our feeds are different. And I really feel like right now we've got a lot of conspiracy theories and negativity and aliens and so much weird crap that really gets in people's mind.
True.
And they start.
Sasquatch.
It's like an agenda. What do you call it? You know,
Conspiracy.
yeah, the conspiracy theories, and it really makes people negative. Like they start believing all of them.
And you want to know the real bummer of this thing? I can just give you one example, okay? It was like, 4 years ago when Trump, or more than that, when he was running for president, right? They talked about, the Russians are involved, it's conspiracy, and at least 3 TV stations said that, right? But when it turned out that was a lie, they found it wasn't a lie. I think it was Hillary or someone hired someone to do that. I mean, it was some crazy thing. They never covered it. They only covered the bad part. Okay, and by the way, so your viewers know, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican.
Right,
I am a
independent.
pure
Same with me.
independent, period.
Yeah.
There was an
You always
independent,
have
you got
been.
it.
That's why I love you.
Happy.
So it's not any party, it's just that some messages they deliver aren't the right messages. You got to take your own message. No, America does
Propaganda
work.
push.
Yeah, don't let them, don't eat their story. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
And then it comes out later, you must wear a mask, it stops COVID. Well, we found out later that was a lie. It doesn't. They lied to us,
Well, you could fart through a mask
yeah,
and
but
smell it.
they
so
won't-
you
but
could
don't let it
probably,
get you down.
know.
They don't
No,
look
they
at-
don't show you the good. They show you the
There's no
bad, but not the
accountability.
good. No, they don't. They don't show you the good. Here's this conspiracy you find out later, but they hate the guy they talked about so much they don't want to tell you, well, we actually didn't tell you the truth. It was someone
Yeah.
else.
Yeah,
So that's why I say don't let these things get you down. America
Yeah.
still works. There's great Republicans, great Democrats, great independents,
leaders, great
everything.
thinkers.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
some of them in power are influenced by other people.
Money.
Don't let that money. Oh
Pharmaceutical
God,
cut-
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Because remember, you know, let's say their re-elections are sponsored
They're
by a lot
expensive.
of big
And
people.
elections
right?
are expensive.
So they
Elections are
support them,
expensive.
and they,
Unless you're John Paul, you
oh
should
no,
just
and they
run for
give a
president.
narrative off to support them. But you know, again, there's a lot of good people here,
Yeah.
and those people that are bad. Even though I heard all this stuff about the FBI telling this bad, false information, they wouldn't bust Hunter Biden, they wouldn't do this. Everybody, right, because of the influence of the politics that were happening at that time. Yeah, but that's not the real FBI. I lecture to the FBI. I train them in management motivation, as well as I did it with the CIA.
Are you kidding?
No, not at all. In fact, it's no secret. It made the newspapers, right?
Oh,
But
great.
I've trained them on more than one occasion, right? But on
So nobody's
management
following them?
motivation, how to be a more loving, daring manager.
Yeah.
So the majority of the people with the FBI or even the CIA are wonderful people.
Yeah.
It's just a few bad actors in there that were in positions of control that created some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So when you heard this stuff, what they were involved in, you know, but that's just a couple of them. It's not the whole FBI or the CIA. There's wonderful. There's only a few of them at the top that were doing this. We've got a great nation. They're good people. And even these people that are around bad actors basically are pretty good people.
But don't they put out fake propaganda for agendas
Yes, they do.
But we don't
to
know
deflect
who's that.
from like what's really happening? I mean,
a
That is a
little
very
of that
good
too.
conspiracy. We don't know. Obviously, without
it's
proof.
not a conspiracy. Because
Well, it is super obvious that it's not a conspiracy, but it is because there's no hard proof. Because you don't see, oh, look, that guy took that thing and put it there.
Well, okay, so why are they all of a sudden releasing aliens right now when there's an election year?
'Cause
Come on.
they're
Like,
trying to
they
distract
have
us.
nothing else to pick. Like, let's pick
Let him
aliens.
be real, damn it.
I just want to meet one alien in my life.
I think you may have already without even knowing it. You know?
Yeah, are you an alien,
hoping so.
JP?
But what I will tell you this, though, no, 2024, you're going to see the alien thing really open up. Okay,
Really?
you'll see
I
more
can't wait.
Do you
landings,
think
more
there's
people.
really? I mean, we
That's-
can't be the only people on the planet, right?
I hope not.
Wait.
Yes.
Are you going to start turning
No,
green?
I personally believe. No, I personally believe it's beyond any question of doubt real. Beyond, I mean,
Really?
yeah, they're now finding civilizations that are 12,000 years old.
Did they find
cities.
a spaceship back in the, what is that called? The Area 51?
Area
You
51?
think that was real?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh,
For
definitely.
real?
Oh yeah.
Wait, have you seen a spaceship? I mean, you are in the
Well,
upper
let me-
echelon.
you asked me that question, okay? And it freaks people out, but it's okay. What happened? The guy who was in charge of, let's say, intelligence at that time in Roswell, the guy, Colonel, starts with an M, his last name, came out and said, no, until the day he died, he wrote a book all about it, all about Roswell. And he said, no, I was there. I saw them. I saw the people that they hauled away. I saw the material. Okay, we broadcasted it that it was an alien landing, and then they changed the narrative a day later to say, oh, no, it was a weather balloon.
Weather balloon, yep.
Oh, yeah, but if you watch, I mean, a lot of things, if you go on and you see this, it blows you. Well, I'll give you an example. If you type into your computers, okay, Secretary of Defense for the UK, or Secretary of Defense for Canada, right? And after you type in Secretary of Defense, just type in UFO, and you will see their ex-Secretary of Defense is saying, yeah, it is real,
No,
and here's
all of
why
them
we know
say
it's supposed to be
it's real.
But they don't
They all-
this is real. They all say it's real, it should be exposed. These are Secretaries of Defense.
All I want before I die is
to
to
meet
shake a
an
hand of an alien. That would be amazing.
No, me too. Ghosts. I mean, come on, just let me meet one. I mean, all these ghost movies. How is it we have ghost movies and no one's ever physically videoed
They're on
one?
season 7
Yeah,
of Ghost
you know,
Hunters.
some else people say, well, if they're here, they're going to kill us. They've been around for thousands of years. And it's already coming up. What were the pyramids? Were they burial chambers? No, the Great Pyramid was not. It was a battery, electrical charge thing that was from one to the
Yeah,
other.
Egyptians didn't
It was
they-
energy. Oh, no. And they're coming up with more flying saucer pictures and things from aliens that date it way back. And now when they uncover cities like the one in Turkey, that's
Yes, I just heard about
12,000
that.
years old.
Yeah, I
and
was just
another
watching
one
that.
they've
Yeah.
uncovered that's 20,000 years old. I mean, forget the history that they told us. It's got to be rewritten a little bit.
It
Okay?
has to be. And the Amazon,
yeah.
didn't
No, they were
they
here.
do that laser where they could see in the Amazon jungle?
Yeah,
that was
the
all
lidar of the
massive
jungle.
city in the jungle.
Not
But they've
only
only
there,
done 5% of it, and they're trying to do the rest.
I've been in Guatemala in the Mirador Basin. I was in there with my son twice, uncovering pyramids that were totally buried for over 1,000 years. And we thought at first there were 5 or 6 pyramids there. And then we thought, no, there's actually 21. One of them, Mirador, is bigger than the Great Pyramid of Egypt in size, not in height, but in size, right? Greater. With the new radar that came out now, that you could look through the ground,
Yeah,
the new
that's what
stuff,
we were talking
they
about.
found over 900 of them there now in the Mirador Basin, about the size of LA County. And there was a lot of stuff was here they didn't want to talk about, and now it's hard to change the books. You know, it's like, well, who discovered North
So you're
America?
saying that the boat guy didn't just come over and discover America?
It was already here.
It was already
They
here.
were already- well, you know, the Navajo, my God, the Hopi Indians had pictures on the walls of it. No,
Yeah.
they were already-
So they say the Egyptians are like, oh, the Egyptians built the pyramids. I'm like, they couldn't have built the pyramids.
Oh, no, but
There's no way.
well, the little ones they probably did, okay.
Well,
but
they
the
probably
other
tried to
ones,
mimic them.
no, there's another way. But and I've also been to Cusco and seen the 20,000-ton blocks there that no human beings
That's
or
what I said,
even
there's-
machine can't work. But the thing is, this is very interesting to know. And people would ask us, well, why? I'm glad you want to know aliens because I normally don't talk about it, okay. But they ask, well, are they bad? Are they bad?
Right.
They could have wiped us out 1,000 years ago.
Yes.
But why don't they show themselves so much right now? My feeling is because we're so primitive, we're
idiots.
still killing one another.
They're laughing
we're
at
an
us.
advanced human race and we're killing one another.
With
we're on a
nukes.
plate where governments try and separate people. And I can tell you an interesting story I want to tell you, okay? During COVID, I was asked by one of the major stations to go on and represent the 1% because I was wealthy and had big business, right? I went on this show, and I won't mention the show with all due respect to him, right? They said, well, JP, you're representing the 1% during COVID, and what do you think of this? Should they be paying? Should the thing on Wall Street really happen where the 1% should give a lot more? I said, well, first of all, let's straighten everything out. I'm not the 1%. I am the 100%. It is we, the people of the United States of America.
And the aliens.
I was poor. I was homeless, okay? I was all that, right? And I got a chance to make it. So I could talk about the American people, not the 1%. We're all we, the people of the United States of America. And there's, at that time with the Giving Pledge, I think there was 110 of us on board, and we're billionaires, and we've all pledged to give away a certain percentage of our wealth after we die or while we're still alive or a little of the two.
Right.
So it's we the people giving. And boy, the narrative changed immediately.
So you think the aliens are like, okay, so do you think that they pick certain people to be billionaires, or is it
You know,
like,
that's
do
a
you
good
think
question.
if I prayed to my alien gods, like
I do know. I do know that several years back, they did something in the United States, and I believe it was in Russia also, for sure the United States, where over one of our main intercontinental ballistic households there, let's call it, right, in Montana, that has all these ballistic missiles, right? A flying saucer came over it, and it was just hovering there. Yeah, it was covering there, right? And it happened at somewhere else too. And all of a sudden, every single missile silo we had went dead. Went dead.
Oh, yes,
It was
I saw
remember,
that.
it was dead, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, when it took off and went away, it all went back online again. So if they are here, and I definitely feel they're here, I don't think they're going to let a nuclear holocaust take.
you think
happen.
Elon Musk is an alien? Because did he go to Mars?
He's I don't know, but he wants to go to Mars, but he's very, very smart. By the way, you know what they found on Mars already? Pyramids, faces. No, people lived on Mars at one
So
time.
do you think the pyramids are energy from planet to planet, maybe connecting?
Well,
do you think that that's maybe how they communicated with
You know what?
pyramids?
It's interesting you're saying that. I thought of that a little because we have pyramids here and they have some pyramids on Mars.
Yeah.
Maybe it was not just global, but interplanetary.
Well, like we
I
have
don't know.
cell
The
phones.
question is, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, like
But I do know
Andrew.
there was a whole civilization there before. And if you were probably going on the internet talking about Mars, the face found on Mars or the pyramids on Mars. And a lot of people I taught, they're pretty well sophisticated, saying, no, all indications are, there was something there. And on the other side of the moon, there were some things we found there also they're trying to let out right now. So, yeah, they've been here
I'm so
before.
hoping they someday soon, they can give us because it's always
us the
just
truth.
these little can be explained or ignored.
I think you're going to see it more this year. I know it was one of the things, and by the way, I love Bobby Kennedy. He's a beautiful, wonderful, honest human being. But he had said it before that if he became president, that he would expose it all, right? Because UFOs are real, and he knows it, right?
Yeah.
But I think also Carter said the same thing,
Yeah.
and Clinton said the same thing. But I think when they finally got to finding out, they said, well, it's only on a need-to-know basis, and you're not on a need-to-know.
They think what, it'll
but
freak
I'm the
us out?
president of the United States, not on the need-to-know.
But will it freak the American public out, or what are they worried about?
And I think it won't freak them out because more
why
and
are
more,
they worried?
look at Arizona. That giant spacecraft, probably a mile long, flew over, and everyone saw it. And the governor said, well, we know it was flares, whatever. But then after he was out of office, he says, yeah, it was definitely a UFO.
What just happened in, was it Florida? There was aliens in a mall?
Yeah, the aliens. Aliens in a mall, that was crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Is it because there's an election season coming
I
up?
don't know.
They're like,
They're trying to
drop the
distract.
aliens.
They're going to distract us. They need to distract us with real
So
information.
We see it so much, and so many people are coming forth talking about it, that my feeling is this, and you could check me out in 1 year, that in this year of 2024, it'll be way more exposed to
Get
everybody.
your hand out, Andrew.
I'm hoping.
That green slime's coming your way.
I mean, I don't know where to go. I could find one that wants to meet a great person like you.
Are they this big, you think, or are they like, I wonder what they look
So
like.
there's good out there. Don't be afraid. There's good.
I
think
believe-
more here to do
Hello,
good
Andrew,
for us, to help
would you
us.
like to
We
have?
just, as long as they're not like humans, because we just dominate everything. So as long as they have
What
a
do you mean
much more docile demeanor, we're good.
Well, wait.
'cause
To the best of my knowledge, I think some of them look just like us, and many look different than we do, okay?
that's
Many
all.
look
So
different.
if you
They-
start shedding your skin, we should
but
probably
a
get you
lot
out
of
of
them,
here.
from what I
I'd let you
understand,
know if I was.
I think a lot of them probably look exactly like
Okay,
us.
so what about this monster theory then? Because they keep saying that they're finding monsters on the planet, like monster fossils, like these mountains look like the shapes of monsters or women, or I mean,
Oh,
is
like
that
troll style?
like troll style?
Yeah, I
like,
don't know. I can't contract
okay,
on
so
it,
here's
but
another
yeah.
thing. Since you're onto the alien thing, real quick, I know. What about was it Arctic and Arctic? You know, where all the celebrities are going down there to
Oh, the Antarctica?
Antarctica.
Yeah.
What is there?
Yeah,
Come on.
I can only tell you the history I know, okay?
Okay.
In
Just a little-
Antarctica, I can only give you the history I know, okay? In Antarctica, there's a no-fly zone that nobody is supposed to fly over, okay? It's a no-fly zone. And from what information has come back after World War II, Admiral Byrd took our fleet down there because we thought there was a Nazi stronghold still down this after World War II. And they don't talk much about this. You may want to go online and put Admiral Byrd, okay? What did he see down
No,
there?
I heard a little bit about
But what's
this.
come back to me was that they were down there looking for this Nazi stronghold, and all of a sudden they were opposed. Whatever they were opposed by, it destroyed 2 of our major battleships. And the
Wow.
admiral got a hold and said, we are leaving whatever's down here. We cannot counter it, okay? They're far more advanced than we are now, and they left. Okay, so obviously it wasn't anything of human form that was down there, or human. I shouldn't say human form. Let me say
Wow.
technology. The Nazis,
advanced.
or we had way too advanced, and they said that. And from what I understand, in the meantime, they don't want people to go there. Supposedly some hole there where there's some, I don't know, an underground city or something is down there. They won't let people there, and that's all that I know. But all indications are, if we were very, very advanced and we could live underground, which we can, by the way, okay? If you take technology and the energy from the earth and know how to harvest it, and I'm sure one day we'll learn whatever that's all about, who knows what you could create? Maybe your own sunshine under there. I don't know. But I do know there's definitely something down there. They don't want to talk about
Huh.
it. Whatever it was, been there for a long time.
Oh, the Wile E. Coyote that would dig through the center of the earth when we were kids, that cartoon?
Yeah.
It was real.
Maybe it was. I remember Wile E. Coyote.
Remember he would
I
go in
remember
the middle of
that.
the
Sure,
earth
I
and
remember that. Yeah.
pop out the other side.
Yeah, and beep beep. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
beep, beep.
Roadrunner. Yeah, that was cool. Maybe, guys, maybe. Or
That's,
they would say if you would dig down, you get to China.
You
I mean,
get to
I
China.
don't know.
Remember what
I
was
don't
that?
know. I
Wile E.
don't know that
Coyote.
one. That one I don't know. Only what I've heard of whatever facts have been sent my way.
Daily Logic Check.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Daily Logic Check. I'm your host, Elizabeth Vargas, with my co-host, Andrew Vargas. If you like what you saw, you like what you see, click below, like, follow, and support us on Patreon. Peace, love, and happiness.